Hey YouTubers, how's it going? Just on the way into my mom's and was doing some running, and one of the things I used to do with my dad a lot was we'd sit at the airport and watch planes land and take off. And this is actually, I'm standing at the back of the building I used to work at when I loaded freight for one of those small local aircraft charter companies back fresh out of high school. But what I was going to show you here is this is also where the Canadian government parks several of the water bombers. You can see there's two there. You just see the tail of the second one. And number 251, you can see number 250 over there. And if you look above 251, you can just see the tail of another one. So there's 5 of them sitting here, and this is just the Winnipeg area alone. So, always was fascinated by airplanes. I don't know who else is, but I just thought I'd show that to you. These are used for forest fires. So this time of year, you can't use them because the lakes are frozen. So those ones land on the lakes. Can pick up, I can't remember how many thousands of gallons in a matter of seconds, and then just take off again and circle around, and away you go. Anyway, just a little bit of interesting thing for those of you who like airplanes. And let's see what else, what other trouble I can get into around the airport here. Catch you in a bit. Okay, YouTubers, I just pulled onto a street that's called Air Force Way. It's part of the military base, or it used to be. There used to be a large military and Air Force base presence here, but not so much. And if you look along the side here, these are what they used to call PMQs, personal married quarters, and they were these were the places that people would live if they were married and they were living on base. But one of the things that they have here, since we're on this airplane kick today, is they have a static display of a few aircraft. These are the ones that are when you first join the Air Force, if you're going to be a pilot, this is the very first type of plane you fly to get your basic wings. I believe it's a Musketeer. And if I continue along the way here, this is obviously the playground for the military base. And see one of our personnel walking over there. I'm actually going to find a place to park, because I'll be able to show you some of these aircraft a little better. A little bit of walking. So if you'll just bear with me, unfortunately some of them are covered with snow, but you know, that's what happens when you live in a snowy climate. And you know, it's only -6 out. It's gorgeous out today. So I'll give you a little bit of the $2 tour here. So, I've always been, you know, amongst other things, fascinated with aircraft. You know, the whole idea of flying is, would have been fun. spent a fair amount of time flying simulator on my computer, the Flight Simulator 2000, then FX10 I guess it was called. But unfortunately, see if I can get the snow off. Oh, I should have brought mitts to do this. Okay, well we can, okay, this is a, here we go. Search radar antenna. If you want to read it, I'll slowly scroll down, and you can always stop and pause it if you want to read it. This is part of so I have to try and go somewhere where I can get this in its entirety here, because it is a little bit of a big son of a bitch. Anyway, there you go. That's the radar antenna, and that fence, chain link fence there, is 5 feet. It's 5 foot high, so that would be 30 feet high and probably 60 feet across. Definitely substantial in size. Anyway, I think I'll go back to the van and grab a glove or two, and since I got to walk a little bit, I think I'll gonna be out for more than 15 or 20 minutes. I think I'll put a coat on. Just in case it gets cold. -6 isn't bad, but as soon as I wipe that, as soon as I wipe the snow off, I felt it. What also doesn't help is the fact that as soon as I did that, I had to gets you right in the kidneys and makes you have to take a leak. So I should be able to get through these before long. There, I don't know, half a dozen aircraft here. And quite by fluke, my custom helicopter ball cap, which it's the company I used to fly me around when I worked up north. There we go. Now let's go for a walk. This is a Challenger jet. Made by Canadair. There we go. I'll scroll down. It's going to be hard to read, but should be able to get the gist of it if you pause, and a little bit hard to read with the snow on it. There you go. So there's your Challenger jet. So don't feel like ducking, and because it's sunny on the wings are starting to drip a little bit. And of course I'm wearing the winter footwear of choice for Manitobans. Running shoes. So, yeah, it's what we do. This is, actually I'll show you from here. This building here, this is 17 wing. CFB Winnipeg. Canadian Forces Base. And it's all part of Winnipeg Airport, or Stevenson Field, or J.R. Richardson. They keep changing the name of it. So this here is a, I believe this is a T-33. Silver Star, I think it is. CT-133. Okay. Once again, pause if you like to take the time to read it. Fascinating when we also have a decent aviation museum here that has a few very unique airplanes. In fact, they have I think it's a flying boat, they call it. I'll look it up and let you know. Okay, here we go with a CF-100 Canuck made by Avro. Also the makers of the Avro Arrow that was very controversial in its day, and long story about how it was cancelled. Political stuff, and of course legend has it that the fighter jets of today are just reaching the capabilities that the Avro Arrow had. Go, the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan. So there is a history of it. Okay, I'm not going to walk all the way over there, sorry. I'll just zoom in. There's no plaque on this one anyway. Or there is, but it's on the pedestal. That's a Harvard. That was another training plane that was used many years ago. And I don't want to walk where it's not appropriate here, but this is the garden of memories, and it's dedicated to the various branches of the military and Air Force and various countries and everything, and it's very, very nice. But you know, it's I just don't want to I don't want to walk because I don't know where the paths are. So yeah, as you can see, there's an airplane landing over there. There we go. Just in case you need to know where you are. There's one I skipped here. This one here, an F-86 Sabre. I skipped it for a reason. And the reason being, my dad had a cousin that was born in Winnipeg, but at an early age, he moved with his family to the States and lived in various locations in the U.S. And hope we can do this without walking. Anyway, his name was George Riddell, and he flew planes in World War II and Korea, and I'll get back to that in a minute. We're up to the CF-101 Voodoo. Which is quite an amazing aircraft. This one I don't have to brush off, a McDonnell aircraft. So, service ceiling 54,800 feet. Armament, 2 Douglas Genie unguided nuclear-tipped missiles with 2 Hughes AIM-4D Falcon missiles, all-weather interceptor for NORAD. And it was used from October 61 to December 84. So, anyway, well, getting back to the Sabre there. My dad's cousin, well, I guess he'd be like a second cousin to me. My dad never didn't meet him. They knew of each other, but never met until about 10 and 12 years ago, just a few years before my dad passed away. My mom and dad drove out. George is living in I'm not sure, I think he's in Oregon. And perhaps southern Washington, I'm not sure. But the I'm getting sidetracked again. Don't mind me. He's still alive, but you know, he's up in his 90s now. This was his favorite aircraft to fly. Of course, he flew the American versions of the, this is the CF-104, and he flew the F-104s. And, Mach 2 capability at 38,000 feet, 58,000 foot ceiling. Vulcan cannon, general purpose bomb, fire bombs, rocket launchers, cluster bombs, nuclear strike reconnaissance, used from 1961 to 1986. So, I believe these are the planes that that they're using or that the leading edges of the aircraft wing were so sharp that they had to protect them when they were on the ground. There's actually a volunteer group that's building a land speed record vehicle, and they're using an F-104 fuselage that they actually, after they purchased it and stripped it down, found markings and numbers on it, and they traced it back to having been a plane that had been flown by Chuck Yeager. I got a minute walk here to get to the last two aircraft, but anyway, George flew in World War II, flew P-40s, P-38s, and P-51 Mustangs. He had 2.5 kills in World War II, and he sunk a boat. And he was doing support for the Americans landing on D-Day. He flew support over the landing parties. Now this is a helicopter that's very familiar to me, because this is the military version of what I used to go flying up north in. Of course, I know it as a Bell 207 or Bell Jet Ranger, and of course they don't call them that in the military. It's a CH-136 Kiowa, made by Bell Helicopters. So once again, you can pause and read what you want. Basically the same as what I flew, with the exception of this one had the capabilities of carrying rockets. You notice the little chin thing there, and this piece here. Those are actually called, they're wire cutters. They were developed in Winnipeg. They're for wire strikes. They were developed here, and now they're employed throughout the world on helicopters. Instead of taking a helicopter down, if they hit a cable, or like an above ground cable, it should shear it and minimize the damage to the aircraft, because otherwise it would the cable would hit the if it made it under the rotor, it would take out all the running gear. So they had those on there, developed by a company in Winnipeg here. I believe it was Bristol Aerospace that developed those. I'll get you to this last airplane, and then on the way back to the van, I'll finish talking about George. So here's the last one that I'm going to show you here. This is a Canadian Navy aircraft. Yeah, they're all covered because we had a couple inches of snow. This is a CP-121 tracker. And they were used from 1957 to 1991. Hope I don't fall on my head. Made by de Havilland, under license from Grumman. You can read it for yourselves there. So this is quite an interesting aircraft. I'm, like I say, I've always been fascinated by airplanes. Well, I guess cars and all sorts of things, but, you know. Anyway, that was the last one I was going to show you here. Continuing on with George. George went on after World War II. He stayed in the U.S. Air Force, and he served in Korea, and eventually became a squadron leader. And squadron leader and a commander. Moved his way up from, I guess, wing leader up to squadron leader, then commander. But he flew F-86 Sabres. That's why I was mentioning the Sabre. He flew F-86F Sabres, and in Korea he had 8 MiG kills. So, just trying to cross the snowbank. It used to be easy to cross the snowbanks when your legs aren't working very well or don't work well and you have bad balance. Used to just run and hop over those damn things, but it doesn't help that it's a little bit of walking. It's tiring the legs out a little bit on me. But anyway, George, he had 8 kills, 8 confirmed kills in Korea. And post-war, post-Korean War, back in peacetime in the late 50s and 60s, he actually became the base commander for the U.S. Air Base in Spain. And although they sold off his Sabre, they took a Sabre. Too much of a walk, but it's worth it for the planes. They took a Sabre and painted it up with his markings, with the commander stripes and commander stripes and all the stripes on the nose and everything. And of course he had eight stars on the side of the cockpit. And his plane was named after his wife. It was Mig Mad Mavis. There was another one that was called Mig Mad Marine. That was John Glenn, the astronaut. He flew in Korea as well and had 4 kills. But George went on after his military service to fly commercial jets for in the Virgin Islands. And when Mom and Dad went to visit them, they were just going to drop by for a little bit and then head for a hotel. And they'd never met George and his wife Mavis. But being family, George wouldn't hear of them going to a hotel, so they put them up and they just had a glorious time. My dad filmed several hours of just set up his camcorder and just recorded hours. Unfortunately, the recordings are long gone and lost. But they went through all of his flight logs, and he was quite a character, apparently. He would he talked about some of his hijinks and that in flying. When he reported for service, he actually did fly I believe it was a Stearman, onto the base he was reporting to. In the Bendix Air races, he flew a jet for the U.S. Air Force in the Bendix Air races. Apparently for military aircraft, apparently he won whatever class he was in. World War II, when he was moving from one base to another, I'm not sure where he was stationed, but he and several other guys were in a PBY, which is like one of those amphibious aircraft, and it got shot down. And apparently they, because it was supposed to be just a quick little island hop, they didn't have much on board in way of rations, so they had apparently a sandwich or two and maybe a bottle of rum or something, as he tells it. And he said they swam ashore. Nobody was killed, but they swam ashore and had just that little bit of food to live, and they were on a small island, and they stayed there for, I think it was 8 days before a submarine came and got them. So quite interesting stories. Just gonna stop right here and show you one more aircraft before I continue on to my mom's. So here we go. Going outside again. This is one that's basically showing that the base is here. So it's on a pedestal as if it was doing a steep climb. And interesting thing about this is at night, all the night flight lights on it, like the very faint bluish green lights and tails in that, are all lit up every night. So you drive along and this airplane is lit up so you can see it. Really quite nice. So this is a 116 Freedom Fighter, CF-116. Another one built by Canadair. Harder to read, but I'll scroll down anyway. Attack, reconnaissance, and attack or advanced trainer. And it served in 1968. There you go. There's the view from underneath it. And for those of you geocaching, here's a spoiler alert. There is a geocache here. But it's an earth cache, so, and I'm not going to say any more about it. So I'm walking to the back of the aircraft now. And there we go. This is going to be a long one if I'm not careful. It's over half an hour already. So there is one more plane set up, and I might take a real quick shot of it when I go by, but it's closer to my mom's place. You know, they do have quite a few static aircraft on display here. Well, being the 17-wing headquarters, all those other ones that I showed you were on Air Force Way. And this one is just half a block west of there, right on the corner of the base where the PMQ bases are. Anyway, I'm going to shut down for a few minutes and head towards my mom's, and then I'll turn it on briefly when I get to that last airplane. Back in a bit. Okay, YouTube, here's the last one I'm going to show you. This is a T-33 trainer, and it's right on the main drag of Winnipeg, Portage Avenue. It's painted gold and black with a red stripe down the middle, and on the side, on the red stripe in white letters, it says Golden Centenaires. And what the Centenaires was the Canadian version, at the time anyway, of the Blue Angels. And I'm talking way back, 50s, early 60s, I think. And then they changed the name, and now it's the Snowbirds that are flying those Tudor jets. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the little tour I had here of the static display aircraft around Winnipeg. And it's a beautiful day. It's up to -6, but you know, as you know, it's definitely wet out there, slushy. It gets slushy because they use sand on the roads, and the sand they mix salt in with it, about 10. I think it's about 10 or 15% salt. And quick chemistry lesson: salt lowers the freezing point of water. So anything under you know, -10 or warmer, and the salt works to melt with the snow and ice on the road. And anything colder, then you get the traction from the sand. Anyway, this is going to be a real long one. So I'm going to let you go and catch you later. Have a good one.